inside of StreamYard, and then
Yeah.
because that gets triggered, and because the delay, it's usually like 10 seconds later, then you have to go over to Instagram and
Oh,
press go live there. Yep, go live, and now we're live on Instagram. So cool. How are you?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Good. Got a little
Yeah,
coffee, a little mocha oat milk
I love it.
on a snowy sort of morning.
Really?
It's
You guys got a little snow up there?
Nah, I tried. It's not sticking. It's cold.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you seeing going on in content land right now?
Um, Jack and I were talking the other day, and it's funny because she was like, I just kind of feel that no one knows what they're doing with content. And I said they don't. I said that's the problem, and the hard part about content is that nobody knows what they're actually doing. Everybody's making up rules. And I just think that's kind of I think probably a good topic to talk about for the next like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think you said it best, as you said last year, content is giving me a ball and saying, go play. And I go, well, what sport? And you go, I don't know, figure it out. And I feel like that's what
Yeah.
content is. And I
I
feel like
remember
that's
the
why.
analogy. I just don't remember like
Yeah,
why.
and excuse my French, that it's just such a mind fuck for people, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
why so many people are scared of it. That's because there are no rules.
Yeah. Well, the really fascinating thing for me is all the experts out there trying to tell you the framework.
Yeah,
And I would guarantee if you try to follow anybody's particular framework, there's absolutely no guarantee at the end of that rainbow that there's going to be a pot of gold.
yeah,
It's like
no,
just because you went through their checklist doesn't mean that what you're delivering is high quality. They
yeah,
say be educational. Okay, cool. Do the like everything is so high level that there are very few people actually putting out content about like super low level details about how to actually execute that.
yeah.
And
Well,
I think that, and one of the things I tell you all the time is like, me being a perhaps overthinker, but like I really try to understand intent. Like, why is something actually happening? I don't
yeah,
try to take things at face value because I know that there's most likely some sort of thing that's going on underneath
right,
that it's there and we're not talking about it. And it's typically the missing component, or the single component to why
sure,
something is taken off. And a lot of times people are looking at some of these people that have big followings, and they're like, what are you doing, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm just being consistent, I'm just using an iPhone, I'm just teaching. And it's like, okay, great, cool, but like there's something missing under there.
yeah,
Oh, 5 years ago you were put on because you had X, Y, and Z in your past. Now that's not hurting you, and obviously I'm not trying to
right,
knock it, but it's the elephant in the room that you refuse to talk about, because so many people that are in content, that are in marketing, don't want the they want to feel like the perception is out there like they did all the heavy lifting. Nobody put me on, I did it all by myself. It's like, a lot of
well,
cases there are people like that, but there are also a lot of people out there trying to sell you ideas that it's something else that put them on.
and I think too, when it comes to, so I was listening to one of my favorite creators, and I think I sent him to you, Jack. Is it Jack Cook? Let me see.
I'm not sure.
I'll
What's he
look him
do?
up. Yeah, Jack Cook. So Jack Cook, he went to the University of Auburn. He was in their media department, and he moved
Mhm.
to LA. And he does a lot of vlogs. He's done 510 vlogs in a row. He has not
Oh,
taken a
yeah.
break. He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
done 510 in a row. And somebody was interviewing him about creating, and how he was just like, and this kind of goes back. I try not to hope we talk in circles, but I think kind of it all comes back to, Jack was saying like he had no idea what he was doing. Like he said, basically the first like 100 episodes, like if you were to go back and watch his first 100 vlogs, like he said they were terrible. He goes, I didn't know what I was doing. And then around like 200 to like 300, I kind of figured it out. But at the end of the day, like this guy has essentially made it. I mean, he's picking up a lot of big work. F1 invited him out last year to shoot some F1 events. Like, he shot
Right.
some really big stuff, and he said himself he didn't know what he was doing. And I think, Jackie and I got into a conversation about marketing versus content, and how I think there's such a clash between marketing and content creators, because marketing is your traditional data. It's a lot more saying no than yes. It's a lot more, let's get it right before we put it out. And then content is essentially the complete opposite. And it just is, it's a big rub right now, I feel like, in the creative space, because content is just such the Wild West.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of the people that are doing the absolute best out there are the ones that are super comfortable in their own skin. They're the ones that they're just trying things or doing things. They're being their genuine selves. Perhaps mindful of certain things, understanding hooks,
Sure.
like certain idiosyncrasies. I can't say the word idiosyncrasies. Yeah, so playing the game, but also as far as like what the content is and all of that stuff, it seems like there's a lot of just doubling down on being themselves. And I bring this up because of kind of how I started this. There's just so much trying to get it right, trying to play by all the rules.
Yeah.
That they hear from gurus and stuff. And I feel like there's got to be a delicate balance of playing the game, but then also being very comfortable being yourself. Because I think
Correct.
people really feel that come through the screen. This person's trying too hard, or they look like somebody else versus, wow, I haven't seen something like this before.
Yeah.
And it's not just being yourself for the sake of being yourself. I think that a lot of people actually go too far that way as well. I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, the whole idea, you have largely two camps of thought. You have some people that are like 100% data driven, and they're like, do exactly what all of your audience wants.
Right.
And then there's also the other camp that's like, screw any of that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just
Yep.
going to be me, and my audience is going to come find me.
Yep.
It's like somewhere in the middle is like that healthy sweet spot. Because at the end of the day, if people claim that they don't really care what anybody thinks, but they absolutely do, because somebody has to end up liking this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's most people's goal anyway, is to have an audience. Even if you have an audience of one, you care about what somebody thinks.
Yeah.
So we
Well,
have to be honest about that, because there's
and
too much. I don't care what anybody thinks. And then
right.
they're sitting there scrolling going, I don't know, why don't I have more likes? So, okay, you actually do.
Right.
But so you have to understand, how much of yourself are you willing to give up, and how much of the game are you trying to play?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. The final thing I'm going to say, and this, I want to put this kind of in layman's terms for people who will watch this in the future, is that at the end of the day, content creation is a form of networking. Right. So
Yeah.
what I mean by that is, so let's take cell phones out. Let's go let's go back pre-internet days. Right. How did you make a name for yourself? Well, you would go to meetups, conferences, business conferences. You'd go shake hands. You'd join all these like Rotary clubs and HOAs, and you'd have all these groups that you'd be a part of pre-internet, right? And my big thing, obviously, being a recruiter and kind of seeing how this kind of plays in to everything, is that really at the end of the day, like, if you want to be known and you want to be found, and listen, there's some people who don't want to be known and found, and I totally respect that. But content creation is a form of networking, and the thing is part of it's just showing up day in, day out and seeing what happens. So I just want to end with that.
Yeah, and maybe not to oversimplify it, but at the end of the day, networking is nothing but relationship building based on context of each other. I mean,
And that's what content is, right?
Right.
Content.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, relationships were built one conversation with a person at a time, one exposure to that person at a time, right? Conversation might be 3 minutes. It could be 10 minutes, but whatever you walk away with, that's sort of like the container that you know about them. And if you like it, then you're gonna keep wanting to know more about that person. Maybe you hang out more with them, right? And the same thing here. It's like one bite-sized piece of content is, yeah, maybe that's like the framework to think about it, is like a conversation, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I gotta bounce for a meeting. It's good to see you as always, and
Of course.
I'll see you next week.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
All right, see you. Bye.
Bye.